answer session with the morning speakers after they're done. Thank you. Pleasure. We really appreciate it. So great. He traveled from Florida, no compensation. He just wants you to know the truth, just like all of us here. All right, I promised you a fact before every speaker about the child COVID vaccinations. So one of the things that Dr. Ammerling mentioned is the natural immunity that exists and is robust and potentially lasts for decades after having COVID. It is strong and should not be ignored. There is thoughts that those that get the vaccine after having natural immunity or developing natural immunity may have increased adverse events from the vaccine. So one of the things that I want you to know about what the approval process involved with regard to children is that they did not study this vaccine in any child that had previously had COVID and documented immunity. Yeah, it's crazy. So, what did they do, though? They approved it across the board. So they said, any child, 5 to 11, it's authorized. They did not take into account what natural immunity the child may have and whether or not that may increase adverse events. So that's your second point of the day. We are having a special guest today, and who is going to introduce the special guest is my good friend, Deborah Chisholm. She's a family medicine physician in Illinois, also doing independent practice and thriving at that. She's been doing that for 7 years. I'm gonna have her introduce herself, tell you guys a little bit about herself, and then introduce our special guest.
Are you learning something? Do you have your pen and paper out? Great. I encourage active participation, so take good notes and take it home with you. I have, yes, my name is Deborah Chisholm. I'm a medical doctor, received my training at University of Iowa College of Medicine, trained in family medicine, and then I opened my own DPC, direct patient care practice, nearly 7 years ago in rural Illinois. I am the proud mother of 6 children, proud wife of an amazing husband for 16 years, and been really blessed and thankful to be in independent practice, unencumbered, in order to meet the needs of my patients at this critical hour. So if any physicians are here, please come find us. We will help you start your own practice. Okay, so I have the distinct honor and privilege of introducing our next speaker, Dr. Li-Meng Yan. Dr. Li-Meng Yan is a medical doctor, PhD, virologist, and independent coronavirus expert. She was educated at 2 top medical schools in China, Southern Medical University, and Central South University. She was also a postdoctoral fellow in the School of Public Health at the University of Hong Kong. Because of her extensive professional network and scientific evidence, Dr. Yan has the distinction of being the only Chinese insider in the West with firsthand knowledge about the true nature of the virus, as well as the Chinese Communist Party's deceptive methods used to disguise their international bioweapons research. Since escaping from Hong Kong on April 28, 2020, she has been interviewed 4 times by the FBI, including an FBI virologist, and each time she has been deemed credible. Dr. Yan had spent 5 years researching influenza vaccines when, in January 2020, she was asked to investigate the Wuhan pneumonia that was sweeping the city. With that, she became one of the first scientists outside the Wuhan Institute of Virology to analyze SARS-CoV-2. From her WHO H5 reference lab at Hong Kong University, she determined conclusively that the virus was engineered in the lab to be an unrestricted bioweapon. She also determined through her investigation that the spread of the virus in Wuhan was not the result of a lab leak. Recognizing the great danger posed by the virus and the CCP plot to cover up its nefarious activities, Dr. Yan fled to the United States to reveal the truth to the world. Since coming to America, Dr. Yan has been the primary author of 3 research reports detailing the lab origins of SARS-CoV-2. Her other accomplishments include a patent-pending universal influenza vaccine, as well as highly recommended articles on SARS-CoV-2 in Nature and the Lancet Infectious Diseases. Dr. Yan has attracted worldwide media attention, being interviewed by major news outlets in India, Spain, Japan, Italy, and across Asia. Examples include the Washington Post, Fox News, Newsmax, The John Batchelor Show, The Daily Mail, Tucker Carlson Tonight, and ITV in the UK. Would you please join me in welcoming Dr. Yan?
Woo!
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. It's my honor to be in Apple. So please download the Apple Times app. TD app, you can guarantee you see the live streaming. Or you can go to Safe Chat, which is a free social media, and you can watch the Sound of Hope there. And by the way, Sound of Hope is a media can broadcasting the real information to China. Thank you. Thank you for Dr. Deborah's introduction just now. And I'm happy to meet people here today. I know it's a cold day, but I can feel your passion. I know why you come here, because you want to know what happened. You know, you say something not now, and you know you have your common sense and logic thinking, but somehow they suppress you to use your common sense and logic thinking, right? Okay, let me ask you some questions. How many of you think the virus SARS-CoV-2 comes from nature? I see no one raise your hand. How many of you have been frustrated, upset during this whole pandemic? Oh, all of you get involved, right? And if I tell you that this virus comes from China, and which I will explain to you all the things, and if you later tell people and they tell you it's anti-Asian, what will you do? Let me tell you, just tell that Chinese virologists tell me that's from China. So I'm not anti-Asia, I'm just telling the truth. Okay, let me start from my whole story. Back to 31st December 2019. At that day, I was assigned by my boss, the WHO Reference Lab Supervisor, Dr. Liu Peng at the University of Hong Kong, to conduct some confidential investigation about the new virus outbreak in Wuhan. So at that time, as a postdoc working in the WHO lab and also as a virologist, I went through my own network back to China, involved the military, civilian, laboratories, hospitals, even reached to China CDC headquarters office. And all the information I collected, I feed back to them. I see there is no response. And my investigation kept going on. Initially, I trust WHO, they should do something. They should push China to hold this outbreak under control. However, later on, my investigation made me realize something more shocked. And what I can tell you that the things prove that WHO actually corrupted with Chinese government. They were helping China government to cover it up. So, until 19th January 2020, I have to find my way to deliver these messages I discover and also I analyze all by myself through the YouTube channel Luda Media, which is the only source I can find and I decide to trust at that time because it was urgent. As a doctor, as a virologist, I believe that if we don't let this message deliver on time, there will be a disaster in human history. I was warned from the beginning to be silent. Don't cross the red line. It means don't make China government unhappy. Also, you don't know why they get unhappy. And also, if I did that, I will be disappeared. However, I know that I would be regretful if I don't do that in my whole life. Luckily, at that day, 19th January 2020, Mr. Luda successfully helped me to deliver all the main 5 messages out to people, which triggered Chinese central government, Xi Jinping's office, to quickly change their strategies of this unrestricted bioweapon, SARS-CoV-2, and they have to change. So let me tell you what I have reviewed at that day through Mr. Luda's broadcast. The first thing is, China government was actively cover up all these things. Remember at that time, they insist there were only 62 cases in China and only in Wuhan. But because we reviewed that, so just within 4 hours, Chinese government has to admit that the case number is triple, raised to 198, and soon after, they admit that there are more cases out of Wuhan. The second thing is, I told people that there was human-to-human transmission already. So China government knows it back to December 2019, but they don't want the world to know that. So that's why after my revelation, within 24 hours, Chinese government was the first time in the world admit human-to-human transmission. And also, Chairman Xi Jinping issued his order to update SARS-CoV-2 at the same level of the infectious disease as SARS-CoV-1 in Chinese infectious disease law. Before that, even WHO tell you, no human-to-human transmission, don't worry about this. And the third thing is, I told people, there is no animal intermediate host. And the Huanan seafood market is just a smoke screen. Don't listen to what China government want you to believe. No matter bat, pangolin, snake, civet cat, raccoon dog. I mean, they basically searched all the animals around the world. Until now, you see, they still cannot find those poor animals as a host, right? Turns out the intermediate host is the Chinese Communist Party. It's their scientists. Right? And I really want to tell people, don't listen to them. We Chinese people never eat that. The fourth thing is, if China government didn't do anything at that time to hold this outbreak in control, there will be bigger outbreak and even pandemic in the future, in the soon future, and also there will be emerging variant all over, which is what we have seen now, right? From Alpha to Delta, and WHO told you we have 24 Greek letters, but it may not be enough. And don't worry, we will find more letters to name them. The last thing is a very important thing. That message makes Chinese government realize this message comes from the insider. Because I told people that this virus, SARS-CoV-2, was not from nature, and it was a product from the People's Liberation Army, the CCP's military labs. And they used the People's Liberation Army discover and uniquely owned that coronavirus ZC45 and ZXC21 to do the modification and to add function to target human and to release a cause the outbreak. Within 24 hours, Wuhan Institute of Virology have quickly submitted another paper. They claim that this virus comes from some bat cave in the west of China, and they name it as RNTG13. This is another of their misinformation, because according to the publication, the real backbone is 45 and the twin-like virus data. It was found from 2015 to 2017. And also, these are the very good candidate because they have done the experiment to see this virus has a potential infectivity to the brain. So you may feel that why a country can be so evil, and if they have done that, why do they do it in their own citizens? And if they want to use this kind of weapon, do they have some antidote to do it, to solve this problem? So let me tell you. First, China government has spent decades to study the novel bioweapon, which I define it as unrestricted bioweapon. Why is unrestricted? These are the things I can show you the evidence from People's Liberation Army's documents, but let me summarize to you. They know that, the Chinese government knows that, in the future, the war should be biowarfare. However, we know there is bioweapon convention in Geneva, so the other countries won't allow one nation to use bioweapon to target the others. So China government studied the whole bioweapon convention. They realized from 2005, WHO was appointed as the organization to surveillance the other countries. So from the next year, 2006, the Hong Kong MD, Margaret Chan, was put as the General Secretary in WHO with the help from CCP until 2017, and then Dr. Tedros, another great friend for CCP. Also, they studied that if you know this is bioweapon, then you need to file to UN. So United Nations will try to make decision to punish this nation. China can veto, they can deny this kind of decision in UN. And also, for the bioweapon, you know, the standard definition tell you this will cause in the wartime and also mainly target military, and also cause immediately large scale of death or injury. We didn't see the immediate death or injury from SARS-CoV-2. However, if you consider the whole number of the organization, until now, 5 million people already left us. And until now, even government cannot use the real definition to define this criminal behavior from Chinese government. That's the cunning part of CCP. On the other hand, there is something called bioterrorism. So in different countries, you have your biodefense system against the bioterrorism. However, you have your list made by your government to show you the bioterrorism reagents they need to be prepared for. No matter it's in America or Russia, none of these lists include coronavirus. That's why coronavirus is a very ideal candidate for Chinese government to use to make the novel bioweapon. And back to the unrestricted part. Why is unrestricted? Since it's not the traditional bioweapon, China, during the development of this bioweapon, they didn't have any restriction of bottom line. They didn't have any consideration of humanity. In their document, clearly, the military generals define that they want to make this novel bioweapon looks like from nature. And if you realize this is not from nature, what will happen? Misinformation and denial. That will guarantee people get confused and also kill your time. And they don't want it as a high death rate bioweapon. Because they know, compared to destroy their enemy from physically, they try to make it mentally. They need to undermine their enemies all this kind of capacity. And trust me, in Chinese Communist Party's eyes, America is their primary enemy. So, this low death rate virus came all over the world. China government, after lockdown Wuhan, they purposely released people, the innocent Chinese people who already may carry the pathogen even they don't know, go all over the world. And China government sits there using their helper, the international misinformation campaign, especially the international scientific misinformation campaign, to spread you different misinformation. Remember what Dr. Fauci has told you back to last year. He told you initially this is flu, right? And he told you that don't worry, we don't need to do anything. Later on he told you 1 mask, later on he told you 2 masks, and later on he told you vaccine, and double vaccine, and booster vaccine, and kids vaccine, right? So he is one of the very typical example of the American scientists who collaborate with China government to spread misinformation and undermine America. Why do they censorship you? Because they know people have their brain. People won't just listen to this word. People can see the difference. So at this time, censorship is a very useful tool. And also, they start to push mandate, right? So mandate is another very useful tool for Marxism, communism ideology, which we Chinese people are very familiar with. They use mandate, they use it to divide America. No matter it's mandate mask, mandate lockdown, or mandate vaccine, there are always people separate into pro-mandate or against the mandate. And this will cause chaos in America. So basically, from last year until now, you have suffered, you see your medical system get broke down, and you see your life get disturbed, and you see your social disorder change, and you see economic goes down, and they also use propaganda. They try to force you to believe that American spirit, American civilization is failed. And then they can take over you. They can gradually use communism, Marxism, to replace the great American spirit. They hate freedom. They hate courage. They hate democracy. Marxism, communism, ideology, no matter what name they use, no matter what format they use, the nature of this is Antichrist. Jesus told us 2 things you should believe. believe in God, and also love people. As a Chinese person, live in China, grow up in China, brainwashed in China when I was young, I can tell you that Marxism, communism want you to do two things. Don't have your faith, don't believe in God, and distrust, hate people. That's what they are working on. And the Chinese government, still now as a legal nation in the world, as the second powerful country in the world, and under the leading of the dictator Xi Jinping, they actually didn't cover their ambition to take over the world. The COVID-19 trophy, for them it's a trophy, give them a very good confidence. So I can tell you that in the next 5 years national plan from CCP, they already confirmed they need to use the control and prevention of emerging disease and also biotechnology innovation to achieve their world dominance. They want it to be by 2035, but now they think they can make it earlier. This is not a joke. I'm here. I'm very lucky. I'm still alive. Since I escaped from Hong Kong at the end of April, I start to tell people that don't trust Chinese Communist Party. And this is their biowarfare, unrestricted biowarfare to target America and all the other countries. And if you don't wake up, it's already urgent, then you will lose your opportunities. Remember what China have done to Hong Kong in 2019. I went from mainland to Hong Kong. I spent a very great 7 years in Hong Kong. I love that country. I become Hong Kong citizen. Just over one night, China ruined Hong Kong. People go to street. They told that they need freedom. They need democracy. They just wanted the truth. They just wanted the faith. What happened? China government sent army, suppressed them. So many protesters. You don't know their names. They are even not numbered. Their dead body were found from the sea or under the building, or you even didn't see that. Police claim this is nothing suspicious. But Hong Kong protesters keep fighting because they know if they stop, there is no future. If they fight, there is still a chance they can get the future. And now, China is approaching to America. They will do the same thing to you, and they already started. And if you don't wake up, you don't stand up to fight against this evil Marxism, communism ideology and Chinese Communist Party, you will lose your future. Your kid, your next generation cannot sit here like you, stay in the church, do everything you want. You think this is part of your life. No, for your kid, they don't have this. They will be like us in China. If they dare to go to church, then they will be arrested. And if they dare to talk about something, to tell, no, this is misinformation, then they will be put to the jail. They will be disappeared, no matter physically or mentally. That will be the future. We are in the urgent time. CCP spent so many years to infiltrate America. They are everywhere. However, when I came to America, at that time, I believe the hope is in America. And since I've been here for over 1 year, since I started to do this true speech with Global COVID Summit all over America, I realized more. The hope is brave Americans. We don't want China to turn America into China. We want to help Americans to change China into America. I sincerely hope everyone here today, when you listen to me, that you can realize that this is something urgent. We must fight together. We must be together to fight against this evil communism. This is for all of us. This is for our next generation. This is for the hope of human civilization. Thank you.
Write them on a piece of paper and drop them off at registration, and after our next speaker, we're going to have a time of Q&A. So thank you so much.
闫博士直播结束了，咱们先直播到这里啊，谢谢大家观看。